Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you another video. All right, so a few things before the Laker game starts up. I believe at 7 or 7:30. I did not check. I should have, but just know that it's going to be in between there for sure. It always is. And if it's at a home game, that is. If it's on the road, no. But usually somewhere between 7 and 7:30. Uh, yeah. So I've been studying some Rui Hachimura highlights. I'm extremely pleased with what I've seen. Not surprised because everything that I saw there was what I already knew. He's going to attack from the mid range a lot of the time, and it's going to be nice to see him do that, dribble, pull up, stuff like that in rhythm. It's his game. It's simply his game. DeMar DeRozan style, all that. C.J. McCollum, he's a mid range jump shooter with a lot of grace and a lot of balance. And the size that he provides is fantastic as well. He's going to rebound well. He's going to make some solid passes as well. He's pretty good in open court, even though he's not very fast. Um, that's going to be the thing. Lateral movement. You're going to get a little frustrated sometimes watching him try to keep up with guards as we switch out to faster players. He's going to get. It's going to be a lot of blow-bys. Unfortunately, that's where his real weaknesses are going to show up, from what I can tell. He doesn't have good lateral speed, so we'd probably be wise to use him at the four, not as much at the three, depending on the matchup. If it's one of those super, you know, Paul George type dudes we're switching off, that first step is gonna beat him. Um, but his size is gonna make up for that a lot of the time. So hopefully he can get in better shape, and that could be less of a thing. But he's never gonna be a speed demon from left to right. That's not gonna happen. Um, on the other side, offensively, he's a sniper, man, and he seems to be pretty good from really um, a lot of the corners. Corners left side, I believe, is his best spot. So that's excellent for us because we're always looking for that particular three. Um, so that's really what I could say. His big body, he definitely uses well in terms of bumping off of people and creating mid-range jump shots. Um, if for some reason he can't blow by guys because he doesn't have a first step, that's not really a thing because he's able to use his size to get in positions to take advantage of what is given to him in the mid range every time. So it's such a nice way to attack uh, when you're not really a fast player, and it's probably going to be a game that ages very well too as he gets older. He's only 24. He's going to be 25, I think, next week or something of that nature. But uh, the unique style of his attack offensively is just going to make him a fantastic player as he continues to age. Uh, Attacking from the mid range, teams don't really defend that, as we often talk about. So guys who have that as their strength have a chance to score so much, man. His career high is 56 in his rookie season. This is year 4. So I think his best days are ahead of him, and I think he's going to do it in our uniform. I think we're going to see some really big games from this dude. Um, there's going to be some hit or miss days, of course. It's going to have some days where he doesn't have his efficiency. It might be some days where he's a little bit more sluggish than others. But we have some of the small forwards like Wenyen Gabriel's actually a power forward, but we have players who can make up for what he doesn't do defensively and put him on lineups that kind of complement him, so that he doesn't have to really play smart, fast players so much. Um, so I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do with him and having basically the players he's already played with: Troy Brown, Thomas Bryant, um, Russell Westbrook. I'd imagine he's going to be on the floor with those guys a lot due to the synergy already being in place. I'm curious to see how he's going to look on the floor with Bron and AD as well, given the fact that he's a shooter. Spacing the floor for them and having a huge body can really be helpful in kind of simulating what Darvin's used to in Milwaukee with the team that they had down there, so the size that they provided. I wonder if Rui Hachimura could turn into a Tobias Harris type of player. That's what I wonder. Tobias tends to have that type of game where he attacks him from the mid range, attacks from the corners, stuff like that, similar body size. That's who I kind of see him developing into, or already being something like that right now. Not really sure yet, but that's what it is. I see him as like a Tobias kind of guy, and that's excellent. You want that type of player. Um, and his athleticism is pretty strong too. When he gets to the rim, he can hammer it home. He's going to get some power in his step. He's not a weak guy by any stretch of the imagination, and he's going to push some people around, especially smaller players. I'd like to see him work on his posts a little more. Um, try to take advantage of his size and not really settle for jump shots. Sometimes get to the line a little more, let them punish him a little more, and get to that line. Uh, but all in all, his mid range attack and his grace is gonna be something we take advantage of, and I think Bron's gonna quickly learn to trust him if those shots start to fall. Um, So that's really what it's going to be about, not losing our faith in him if for some reason he's not hitting his corner shot early on or something like that. Or vice versa, not getting too overzealous if he starts ringing off shots really, really fast, assuming he's going to hit, assuming he's going to go 100%. It's going to come and go. He's not a sniper, but he has really, really good strengths in certain areas on the three ball floor. But all in all, he's a catch and shoot guy pretty much from anywhere, and we're going to utilize that. Some of the plays that we get to LeBron James, where we like to use Dennis Schroeder and Russell Westbrook to get him mid-range jumpers and stuff like that, we can run some of those same plays with Tobias. Rui Hachimura, who I said is going to be like Tobias Harris, but he's not Tobias. But it's one of those type of situations where I'm excited, man. We're gonna be able to run some stuff that we haven't been able to run before, and I think the possibility of us having big lineups that can overpower teams and actually rebound the ball could be a really welcome sight for a team that's been stuck in small situations for 2 years straight. I hope that our coach sees that he can walk away from these small ball two-man lineups with Dennis Schroeder and Patrick Beverley. They don't make us a very dynamic basketball team for a multitude of reasons, and I think he's probably the only person that believes in it. The only person. Everybody I've listened to, experts, fans, everybody, we all agree that's not a good backcourt, man. It's just not. It's too small and it's too one-dimensional. And so you're not getting the most out of either one of those players, and you're putting them in positions to look worse than they actually have to look when you put them down there together. Particularly with Lonnie Walker, who's actually warming up right now from what I saw, and he looks really good, by the way. Hopefully he's not thrown into situations where he looks bad again with those small ball lineups that Coach loves throwing him into. Lonnie Walker's a natural too, who can do a lot for us offensively if we just keep him in lineups that make sense. So I'm looking for Coach to do right by Lonnie because, playing small forward and power forward, that's just absolutely not the way to go. And we don't have to anymore. We know it. So I want to continue to see Max Christie also getting these lineups with Rui Hachimura. I think that his length and his speed can kind of offset Rui's slow nature in a way. Troy Brown, same thing. We want to keep him on the floor with those guys. They also shoot the ball well, so we can have situations where we can ring off 3 and 4 threes straight if they're all hot at the same time, which I think is likely to take place once in a while. And he won't even have Braun and AD on the floor while those three are killing it. So I think our second unit could potentially be deadly if we do the right things with it. It's going to be hard, man. I'm telling you, we got an entirely different team now. The team that we're coming on the floor with San Antonio tonight, it's not even the same basketball club. With Austin coming back, Lonnie coming back, Rui coming in, and Anthony coming in, we are basically healthy. We're basically healthy, you guys. Now, I haven't heard anything about Austin. I want to peel that back because I haven't seen him work out yet. But I know he's set to have a workout to check that hamstring. And if he can go, they're excited about him coming back tonight too. So right in time for the road trip. I think San Antonio game, this could be all over the place, but I do expect to win it. But it's when you have players coming back, continuity can be a thing. Turnovers, errant passes, maybe not the greatest shot selection because we're bringing guys back and they might not be in shape and that kind of thing. So I guess it's the perfect game to have it happen because you're going up against a team that wants to tank. Even though they've been shooting at a high clip, man, I'm telling you, San Antonio, if you think you're just going to waltz in there and do a dance with them and going to win the game, they can score a lot of points just like everybody else. They've had games where they've scored upwards of 130, 100. They've done that. So we need to be careful about them, particularly right now. The type of, groove that those shooters are in as we speak. It's not like they've been missing shots as of late. They haven't. So that's what I would say about them and so on and so forth. Hopefully, with Anthony Davis getting only, 20 minutes tonight or something like that, we won't see any funny setbacks of any kind with his health, man. Come in for in the first half, maybe get a couple of jump shots and sit down. And let's just see what else we can do with some of the other players that we're working back into the equation. So that's what it's going to be, man. These next couple games, this game, the Boston game, I just don't know what to expect as it pertains to the rotations because we're such a different team. And I don't know if this team has really had a whole lot of time to practice. Obviously, Rui just coming in yesterday. It ain't been a lot of time. So it's a big question mark about the continuity of what we're going to see. But I think all in all, with the type of talent we're bringing in, it's also like you almost expect to be able to overpower the team, even in the process of making mistakes, depending on how good those guys look all coming back. And also, I'm not sure if Bron's going to play tonight because, obviously he played last night's back-to-back. But for continuity reasons, given the fact that we're bringing back so many pieces and they're going to have to play some meaningful basketball games coming up without that continuity, it might be best for him to try to run tonight just off the strength of that. So, I don't know. We'll see how the Lakers decide to play it. Even if he does play, he probably should have minutes restriction just like AD, just for the strength of that. And by default, like I said, there's so many people coming back that those minutes are probably going to go to those people anyway. So it's an experiment game. Great time to have it happen against the Spurs. But, I do not want to lose tonight's game, man. I know how things can go when you're bringing guys in and new people are coming in, old people coming out. Bron may not play. This can be all over the place tonight. I don't know what to expect, and I just don't want any letdowns in the process of all this. So every game is meaningful. That's the point. If we had a scheduled loss and we just gonna deal with it, we just deal with it. But when you have a game like this, where all that is happening and you're going up against a tanking team, you have to capture the victory. You can't let this victory slip through the cracks. Absolutely not. So that's what I want to say, man. However we play it, we better win. And I don't know if there was anything else I wanted to share. I saw a little bit of the Rui Hachimura interview or introductory press conference. Pretty standard stuff, man. Obviously, we had talked about my interpretation of what Rob Pelinka's quote was, and I was actually able to hear him speak that quote. And I just took from it basically him, telling us what his marching orders have been. Not necessarily what his mantra is about how to build a team, but more so how the Knights of the Round Table have told him to go about this thing. We don't want to wait. We want to win all the time. We want to skip steps, and we want you to get us a championship trade right now. So, the way I looked at it after giving it more thought, it was just kind of like him letting us know, hey, this is what it is. This is what they want. This is what I'm gonna deliver. And so, that's my interest in them not doing things the wrong way is wrapped up in the opinion that we shouldn't mortgage everything without a clear, concise direction. You know what I mean? Players that we intend on signing, stuff like that. If we're going to make trades that involve those picks, they must be assets that we plan on using going forward, not just for this season, in my opinion. So we're on the right track with the Rui Hachimura trade. I'm not going to read too much into that quote about, basically going all in for a championship trade and all that stuff. I'm not going to read too much into that anymore than just to say that I think he's letting us know that this is the direction of the people who are running the show, and for better or for worse. And so that's kind of how I take it. That's kind of how I take that. At any rate, so yeah, I'm excited about the game just because we're seeing so many new players, man. I don't have expectations that Rui Hachimura has to go out and average 30 since he scored 30 in the last game. It's different circumstances, different expectations, different shot selection expectations, that kind of stuff. But we do want to see what he has. I do want to see us not put cuffs on him early and just kind of see what he has in his bag. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So, yeah, it's going to be a learning night. It's going to be a learning night. We're at square one as it pertains to knowing who we are again. Rui Hachimura, for all I know, makes it so that we want to attempt more three-point shots. You know what I mean? As opposed to being a team that has three-point discipline. If he comes in and becomes a 40-point three-point shooter, now we're looking for him to get his average of three-pointer shots a game or something. You know what I mean? It might change your whole identity when you see what a guy can or cannot do. But one thing we know for sure is we haven't been turning the ball over too much in spite of all the stuff that's been going on. So we want to continue to make sure that we take care of the basketball. And we got to manage Russell Westbrook, man. Obviously, we're in a weird space where we don't know if he's going to be traded or not. So for between now and the trade deadline, things are just going to be a little strange between us and Russell Westbrook. He may want to, play hard for the betterment of himself. He may feel like he's part of the team some days. He just may not be into it. And that's just going to be the nature of the situation until this deadline passes, I believe. So I don't know what to say about that. Just hopefully the Lakers are ready to make the right decision, and hopefully it doesn't drag on too long, whatever they decide to do. So that's what it is, man. That's the gist of what I gotta say. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the Lakers, Rui Hachimura, and I'm hopeful that we don't neglect to continue to play people who've absolutely played well. Particularly three guys that come to mind immediately: Thomas Bryant, Max Christie, and Wenyen Gabriel. I don't know that bringing in Rui Hachimura takes away from what Wenyen Gabriel provides as it pertains to, or rather, I don't know if he replaces that, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think you have the same dynamic. Rui's not the defender that Wenyen is. Wenyen's not the shooter that Rui is. They can both play together. Uh, at, with Rui playing the 3 and Wenyen playing the 4, or Rui playing the 4 and Wenyen playing the 5. But I don't want Wenyen's minutes to go by the wayside because he brings too many things to the table that can't be replaced by anybody else on the floor at that spot. He's a better defensive player than anybody we got out there, Anthony Davis in the paint. And he also gets a lot of 50-50 balls, things like that. And his three-point shot is underrated. And I just feel like we're a much better defensive team when he's out there. So I don't think that should change too much just because Rui came in. I think other people should be sliding in the rotation, not Wenyen. So that's what I wanted to say. That's my opinion. I hope our coach studies what he needs to make the right decision for our roster instead of just leaning on stuff that he was leaning on when we didn't have size and had to lean on stuff that wasn't so good. So that's what I got to say, man. Everybody enjoy the game. Lakers versus Spurs tonight. And we headed on this 5-game road trip. That's what I got. Video 44. Thank y'all for watching.